honest, I just don't really care to like collaborate with any other leftist ever again at this point.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at, because they come on the show, they build a name for themselves, and then they build a bigger name for themselves, trashing us as if they don't know who we are.
That sounds like fighting words to me.
Is the left headed for a divorce?
Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Vincent, and this is my partner in crime. That's my partner in crime.
We're here to discuss some... I thought I did. This is Sorry. I'm sorry.
You talked over me. You women-splained me.
Oh, no! Is that the perfect beginning?
All right, this computer is a little bit chippy. The computer's a little bit chippy.
Apologies.
Hopefully, once we get some of these videos deleted, we'll be able to go a little bit quicker. But dear listener, we just had to talk to you for a second. Yeah. Now, if you're familiar with our other channel, we will be on that other channel as of 10:30 Eastern Standard Time.
We have another birthday.
Shout out to Big T. Shout out to BC. Shout out to Rig. Shout out to Facebook user. I don't know who you are yet, Facebook user. But I'm sure you're going to reveal yourself to us. If you want to be part of our community, it's free of charge. Facebook.com/America Middle.
Keep in mind, it is a free speech environment, though. It is not for the faint of heart.
It is a free speech environment.
If you're feeling off, don't go over there that day.
Yeah.
You want to learn something, though, there's plenty to learn.
I mean, it's my platform. Yes. I get cussed out every other day in that thing. So they really don't care who you are. I'm not an admin on that site, so I don't control who says what. So there you go. All right. Well, how do we deal with this? Well, here's the first thing I'll say. When Donald Trump in 2016 won the election, I think all of us were extremely shocked. There's a lot of weeping. There is a lot of gnashing of teeth. People were trying to figure out if there was really a God. How could he let Donald Trump be our president? But you know what we are, dear listener. We're a democratic republic, dear listener. And so things like this happen in democratic republics. What was your what was your initial reaction when you saw that Mr. Trump had actually been victorious?
Well, unless I'm re-remembering what happened, I remember thinking toward the end he was probably going to get it, because
like the night of the election.
I don't remember when it was. I thought when it was getting closer, but you would remember better what I was saying around that time. I remember thinking, you know what? I bet you there's a lot of people that are not saying how they really feel about it, just because I felt like people were I heard people talking about as the stuff that they were getting sick of seeing and hearing and all that. And so I thought, Trump, he's very much, it seems like, it's kind of surprising that he came out on the right. I didn't expect that.
That Trump would come out as a right winger?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the guy, yeah, absolutely. He was there at Hillary's daughter's, I forgot her, Chelsea Clinton's wedding, all types of stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, once it happened, I mean, I thought I remember saying that I thought Trump was going to win by a lot. And he didn't win by a lot. That's what I thought I remember saying.
It was a fascinating situation. When the postmortem was done, there was one particular group of individuals who shouldered the most blame. Do you know who that was, dear listener? Do you know what demographic, dear listener, shouldered the most blame in the left-wing media space? College-educated white women. A mother and her two daughters in a Pennsylvania town chose a different sort of 21st century feminism. Okay. Yes, dear listener, it was white, college-educated women who put Mr. Trump over the hump to win the election. Now, you got to think about this. This was the ultimate misogynist versus the ultimate icon of feminism. This was We had one Supreme Court seat open, and Miss Ruth Bader Ginsburg, radiallahu anha. I'm not very hopeful for her. Radiallahu anha means may God have mercy on her. Miss Ruth Bader Ginsburg had a foot in the grave. And there was a Supreme Court seat open, which was highly contested, by the way, dear listener. You remember the whole Merrick Garland-Obama situation? All this was on the line. And women, college-educated white women, had the opportunity to put one of their own into office. And instead, they voted for Donald J. Trump. Do you know, dear listener, who pushed Mr. Biden over the hump? Yes, it was Stacey Abrams in Atlanta, Georgia, whatever. But again, it was college-educated white women that made the decision to replace Mr. Trump with Mr. Biden. Now, why am I talking about an election that happened in 2016 and 2023? It's a very good question, dear listener. It's a very good question. Here, let's do this. This is what a college-educated white woman looks like. Or maybe this is what a college-educated white woman looks like. That first one was Anna Kasparian. This is Riley Gaines. This is Riley Gaines, dear listener. Now, why am I talking about Riley Gaines and Anna Kasparian and the 2016 elections? And why am I talking about the Young Turks when we had a mass shooter incident yesterday or the day before? We have other issues happening in the political realm. Why are you? I had a good friend message me. Why are you beating a dead horse talking about this issue with the Young Turks? Because, dear listener, all of these issues are interconnected. Yes, they are. They are absolutely interconnected. And we're going to see in a second. Hopefully this will still be on in an hour. Inshallah.
No, something else will be on at that point probably, or close to it.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty to see.
They're talking about YouTube shutting down the video because So what happened? Why is it that the college-educated white women have the most power in this country? It's very simple, because black people are always going to vote Democrat. It doesn't matter if the Democrat comes into their own space and spits in their face. We know this. We saw this with Biden. You ain't black. Oh, I'm sorry. Black women are always going to vote Democrat, because black men for the last two elections said, I ain't voting for Trump or Biden. So black men, we just said, man, screw this. But it was black women that are massively loyal to the Democratic Party, in spite of the fact that the Democratic Party has absolutely no love and will do nothing for black women. That's a separate topic. So they have the blacks. And white men are generally, you know how they're going to go. And so the deciding factor is generally Anglo-Saxon or European descended women who tip the scales, because they can be persuaded either way. And you saw this during the Clinton. The assumption of the Democratic Party was, no matter how horrible this candidate is, there's no way in the world that a white woman is not going to vote for this white woman.
Yeah.
They were wrong.
So they thought.
They were wrong. They had a historical moment. White women had a historical moment. And faced with that historical moment, they voted for Trump. Now, here's the thing, dear listener. I am not a college-educated individual. This individual is college-educated. Oh, by the way, here's another example of a college-educated white woman. I am not college-educated. And like anybody with a disability, when you have certain deficiencies, there are other senses that you have that you have to kind of accelerate in order to survive in the world. So I'm not a very educated individual. Okay? So what I have to do is I have to rely on my memory. Dear listener, I remember back in 2016. I remember it was college-educated white women that swung the little thingamajiggy in Trump's way. But it seems to me that progressives have forgotten that. What do I mean by that? Here we go. This began with Anna Kasparian, and we're not going to talk about the actual assault yet. Well, let's do it. Anna Kasparian
out walking her dog, apparently.
Yeah, walking her dog.
Some guy, apparently a homeless man, came up and grabbed the back of her and...
Yeah, let's actually look at what she actually said.
Oh, okay.
So here is somebody named Maya Vada, whatever. Anna Kasparian laments that she is labeled as reactionary by the bad leftists when she expresses these views. But she just wants to be able to walk her dog without having to see a poor person. Isn't that what everyone wants?
What? No, that's not what it was.
So this is Anna Kasparian doesn't even want her eyes to behold a poor person. Here's what actually happened to her. You go ahead and read that.
Intentional smear that completely erases the sexual assault I experienced. While walking my dog in my neighborhood, as I was bending over to pick up my dog's waist, a man grabbed my hips with both hands and aggressively, repeatedly thrust against mine. I was degraded. It was degrading and scary.
Okay. So there's Anna Kasparian.
That's what I thought happened, but...
And she gets sexually assaulted in broad daylight. And when she recounts this and says, whoa, we gotta rethink this whole no bail situation and letting these guys off. Something happened to me. Now, Anna Kasparian is all of 5'4" and about $120. Couldn't hurt a fly. I tell Sori all the time, like, if I'd have caught her like 15 years ago, she'd be in the UFC. Sori's literally the strongest female I've ever met in my life. Like, literally, I'm talking about like physical strength. She will... Okay, Anna Kasparian is not sorry, okay? She's 5'4", like $120, and I think what happened to her is she felt the real difference between the natural strength that a man has and the fact that women are completely and totally overmatched by that power. And in that moment, there was literally nothing she could do. She is big, giant Anna Kasparian. She's been viewed 1 billion times all over the world. She's flown all over the place.
Yep.
Multi-millionaire, made a name for herself, but at the end of the day, it was just her versus that dude.
She can't even pick up dog poop without people going after that. I'm telling you, when I read her story there, that makes me so upset on her behalf. Like, to be assaulted is so degrading. To be assaulted in that way, and then to have this person, who's this person that came in saying
Maya Vada. This is a woman, by the way.
Well.
But yeah, it's like, oh, so that all gets distilled into, oh, you just don't want to see poor people. Now, keep in mind,
unbelievable.
This is the same. Now, some of this is karma, Anna. I'm sorry, but the fact of the matter is, you remember when Mr. Joe Biden was credibly accused of sexual assault by Tara Reid? You abandoned her.
That's true.
You abandoned her.
That. Yeah, that was pretty disappointing. Yeah.
So but
us girls, we got to stick together. We got to speak out all together.
This assault happened to her recently, okay? And this is why I'm telling you, this divorce of TYT versus everybody else is seismic. Now, look. So this is what this person said. Anna just doesn't want to see poor people.
Come on.
That's the problem. She doesn't want to see poor people. She doesn't want to see poor people. Here we go. Here's Anna continuing to talk about the situation. It is important to understand how these assaults impact people. I think about what happened every time I need to walk my dog, which is multiple times a day. The guy walked away laughing maniacally after he degraded me like that, and I cannot forget that sound.
Oh, God.
You know what that's symptomatic of, dear listener?
Trauma.
That's
PTSD.
called post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, like, everybody's hanging around the 4th of July and the firecrackers goes off and the guy takes cover and says, ah! Because he's still in Afghanistan or whatever, even though he's in his backyard. This woman, here's what happened to Anna. She has lived in a very privileged situation for a very long time. And she talked about this in a Ben Shapiro interview. She voted for the no bail reform, all the progressive policies over there in California, and she then came face to face with the direct ramifications of that ideology. And this is one of the things I've said about progressivism and the left. Progressivism isn't going anywhere for another 10 years. Because the fact of the matter is the vast majority of progressives were born around the year 2000 or 2022 or 2023. And most of you guys have been socialized at least 30% of your lives on Twitter. So your mindset, the mindset of progressives right now is, a lot of you guys don't have kids. You've extended your adolescence. Now look, you're going to take this as criticism. Because you're a normal young person, so you're going to get all in your feels and you're not going to think logically, okay? And if you're that kind of person, God bless you, but this is really not going to be helpful to you. But the average progressive has no children, is in their early 20s and full of ideals, and has been online, has been terminally online as a regular form of life. And what happens is, when you are online, especially the way that the advertising works with Twitter, YouTube, etc., and we know this because this is what we do for a living.
Yeah.
The algorithm works to get you to find the most extreme version of your tribe. You get on with them, and then everybody in your tribe agrees with you. So what'll happen is, you'll post something, and then everybody in your little echo chamber agrees with you. And then the one person that disagrees with you comes from the other tribe. So then you guys go to jihad online. And you don't understand that the vast majority of the world and the country does not operate like you operate on Twitter and Facebook. That's not how it works. So the vast majority of all these young progressives now are socially impaired and do not know how to read a room because they're always in a virtual room.
Yep.
So the things that you would say if you were in a room with Anna Kasparian and she recounted this horrible situation and told you, I can't stop thinking about hearing that, nobody would ever say, oh, so you just don't like poor people, you don't want to see poor people.
Exactly.
But because you're online, you say all kinds of dumb shit that you normally wouldn't say otherwise. And you begin to think that everybody's like you. You don't realize that only listen, we've got an interview lined up with a household. I'll tell you this: a household name in the LGBT community, particularly the T's, that you will recognize, and you will. This person is from a previous generation. Okay, so they saw all the work that LGBT people had to do to get here. So you're going to want to hear what this individual has to say in the future. But the fact of the matter is, this is my diagnosis of progressives, and we're going to see this laid out in the comments section. Progressives are that 16-year-old boy who thinks that he knows how to shoot because he plays Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah.
You see, he's in a virtual world.
Yeah.
So then, when I actually saw this with my own two eyes. Shout out to Paul H. This is when I was in Texas on that. This is a guy, okay, who is literally part of the most elite warrior group on the face of in human history, okay? And he was showing us, he got sent down in the mentor program where he was showing us the basics. Here comes this 17-year-old telling this dude, I'll say this: he was in Black Hawk Down. He was in that whole situation. Okay, he had 4 rounds left in his mag. Okay,
please tell me what happened. What did this boy?
This 17.
Tell me what this.
Well, what he said was in a gunfight you should anticipate getting hit, and part of your everyday carry should be basically tourniquet makeshift tourniquet stuff. And he was trying to get us good at tourniquets and stuff like that. And this kid was like, "No, you shouldn't go into a fight thinking you're gonna get hit." And we were now keep in mind this kid was surrounded by literal legends. Like I was more accomplished than he was in this situation. And if you knew these dudes, that's an insult. Okay, they used to call me baby. That was anyway. So here comes this 17-year-old is about to tell fucking Alexander the Great how to do a hasty ambush. Okay, this is progressivism. A bunch of terminally online people who've been playing video games, who have not been out on the field. You haven't been on the field, so you don't understand how it actually works. Here's how it works, progressives.
Wow.
White women are the jewel of this country. Has from the beginning. You remember Malcolm X at the beginning? He said, we were treated like trash, blah, blah, blah. So and we were powerless to go after the white man. So what did we do? We went after the apple of his eye, the white woman. I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it. Simply, a lot of men be wanting to hem me because their words just don't offend me. Okay, all right. They are. They're the jewel. They're the jewel of this country. So when a country that was born in blood and gunfire, okay, sees white women being attacked, there is a visceral reaction. But what happens is you're a terminally online person, so you don't understand how this shit works. Because you're stuck in your crazy echo chamber with your 50 million pronouns, Z, Zer, Zim. Look, you guys know me. I've respected the pronoun thing. What I'm talking about is taking a legitimate issue and then stretching it to credulity. Do we need reform in the criminal justice system? Yes. Quickest way to do that is a federal ban on qualified immunity, not abolishing the police. Should we take care of our trans friends? Absolutely. But we should not have fucking pedo adjacent motherfuckers in an elementary school with little Sammy. See, this is taking a righteous cause to credulity and then destroying it. So Anna was like, hey, I'm for this bail reform stuff. Our criminal justice system is fucked up. So she goes and votes for it. And then she deals with the ramifications of it. And she had to rethink it. Now she goes and ventilates her trauma. And you saw the response that she got from the left.
From a woman even.
From women.
Unbelievable.
Do you know, I didn't screenshot this, but do you know there were like 5 comments from dudes that said, I hate you and everything you stand for, but if I was out there, I would have protected you.
Aww.
One guy said, man, fuck you, Anna Kasparian, but honestly, if I ever saw that happen, that guy, he'd be out of here. And then this guy said this.
Oh, God.
He said, it's a good thing you didn't have a gun, otherwise you could have stopped him. Now this is a Republican talking point. That's a Republican talking to her.
So what he's telling her is that if she would have had a gun, she could have been further traumatized by killing someone that day.
Well, that, or she didn't need to kill the guy because a lot of this for her was psychological about the power that she lost. She lost the power to defend herself because men are generally going to be stronger than women. Anna Kasparian works out every day. She talks about it all the time. This guy's drunk as hell. He probably couldn't last 2 minutes with me if we squared up. But it doesn't matter because men are always going to, generally speaking, going to be stronger than women. There's a vast difference between me and a woman that's twice my size, twice my height, and twice my weight. I will still fuck her up. I had a guy tell me one time, Ronda Rousey could kick your ass. No, she could not. So this guy shows up and says, too bad you didn't have a gun. She responds, if I had a concealed gun in California, I'd be the one arrested because it's impossible to get a license for one. Do you see how she responded? That is not left-wing orthodoxy when it comes to guns, is it?
No, it's not.
She's supposed to say, no. Look what the guy says after that. He says, my bad. I assumed you opposed constitutional carry. Bitter because my wife is equally defenseless in Canada and it's never going to change. I'll look into your position more because clearly it's not what I thought. This guy had an assumption about Anna's thought process relative to guns because she's a leftist.
Yeah.
But her experience is making her go,
Yep.
And this guy's in Canada and he knows his wife is defenseless. He knows it because men understand when a dude wants to do something to a woman, she doesn't stand a chance. That has implications, dear listener. Think. Anna didn't start saying all this shit until after that situation happened to her. Think. Terminally online leftist. Why? Why this sudden change in her? We continue. Law-abiding citizens should have the right to carry. I just want to close gun show loopholes and other loopholes to federal background checks. I also want laws that ensure parents get prosecuted if they're irresponsible with their weapons, if their child commits a mass shooting, which everybody is anybody with a brain would support. But the fact of the matter is, Anna Kasparian is an icon. She represents something. Mm-hmm. So what's happening is you got left-wing women now who are saying, I don't know, man. I don't know. Now, let me ask you a question, dear listener. After she ran into that horrible situation where she was completely powerless and this dude, they sexually assaulted her in broad daylight and then laughed about it. That laughter is like, you can't do anything about this. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how many times you've flown around the world, talked to UN, press the flesh of world leaders, people in the history books. That doesn't matter. You're a woman. I'm a man. I'm stronger than you. I'm going to just impose my will on you in broad fucking daylight and nobody will protect you.
And it's that laugh after, man.
So then, what do you think is going through her mind when she goes to open that bathroom stall to wash her hands after she's done using the facilities, and then she sees a woman with a 5 o'clock shadow, clearly born male, in her bathroom stall? What do you think's going through her head?
I don't even use the public bathrooms anymore because I know that is a possibility, and I'm not willing to take the chance.
Yeah,
so
you're
I guess I'll just give the bathroom completely.
You're a that's because you're a TERF. You're an evil person, and all that. So there you go. Here's one that I thought was really good. This is a response to Anna. When the history of how fascists came to power in the United States, this is everybody who disagrees with me as a Nazi because we're progressives and we're children. When the history of how fascists came to power in the United States, it is written, it will be particularly unkind to the liberal academics, journalists, and politicians who fearmongered about crime by the poor and pushed surveillance and state violence as a solution. So Anna is saying, I was sexually assaulted and traumatized, and this person responds by saying, you are a fascist.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You cannot make this stuff up.
Yeah, but I'll say like you,
this
is showing that there's a giant gap in understanding what you should and shouldn't say socially. Like, her being assaulted has nothing to do with that accusation.
Oh, I know, but what happens is when you're part of a cult or a religion, there's a thing called orthodoxy, right? And if you stray from that orthodoxy, you become a heretic, and then you got to figure out what to do with the heretic. Sometimes you excommunicate the heretic. Sometimes you burn him at the stake. Sometimes you crucify him. Here we go. So Anna violated left-wing orthodoxy, and because of that, now she is she's all this. Unfortunately, some leftists show more compassion for criminals than victims. I'm sorry. Here's what happens with leftists. They have a set of victims, and those victims are always good. And then they have a set of oppressors, and those oppressors are always bad. There's no nuance. There's no color. There's no gray. Batman was filthy rich, but he invests his life in fighting crime, right? Bane was poor, but he was a bad guy. Like, things are not as simple as that. That's why the scripture says you shall not show partiality to the poor or the rich.
Right.
Because you can show partiality both ways. You can feel bad for the poor, but the poor guy's a serial rapist. And you can come to your conclusions about the rich, but the rich guy gives 90% of his salary away. You have to take people by a case-by-case basis. But what happens is young 20-somethings on Twitter and Facebook do not actually interface with the icon of who they think they're against. They only interface with the worst version of those icons online. So they haven't met any extremely generous rich people. They haven't met... We worked in the downtown area.
Yeah.
We saw people that would steal from their own mothers in order to get the next hit. I saw people who sold their sons to their drug dealers. There are some really fucking horrible poor people on the planet. Really horrible people. you know, people that you just want to jam up and whatever. Okay. So that's what's been going on. Now recently, Anna Kasparian, she was instructed to take down her tweet by the establishment,
by the masses.
Yeah, by the leftist Sanhedrin, by the leftist Sanhedrin.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was recently told to do that. So here is what Anna posted. Okay, and this restarted the whole situation again. But I'm gonna put it up there because it's important to add context to what's going on here. Okay, here we go. And this is Anna. Now she's fighting with this other progressive name, Olemi, whatever her name is. Look, I'm black, so I'm allowed to mispronounce this woman's name. I'm not doing it on purpose. I have no issue with this lady. The problem is I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Okay, so I mean I don't know how else to explain that to y'all. Like, I'm not trying to be offensive. I swear to God, it's just, you know, like, right. I don't know the woman's last name. Okay, it is what it is. But some white person will call me racist for this. Here we go. LOL, the meltdowns over wanting to be referred to as a woman rather than a birthing person is pretty wild. I'll never apologize for that, especially as a biological woman who has had a fucking lifetime of being told I'm less than. I'm a woman, no apologies.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there are certain, you know, certain obstacles that we have to overcome as women. And so to find ourselves in this place and now all of a sudden we can't even call ourselves women, this is crazy. This is getting completely out of control. It's
insane. You made transphobic statements and we spent an hour of the show defending you from allegations of being a TERF. That would be any feminist in the 1960s or any feminist in the 1990s, literally. That's what a TERF is. She made transphobic statements. She said, I want to be referred to as a woman.
Yeah.
That's what she said. I'm not a birthing person. I'm not a menstruating person. I'm a woman. That's what she said. That now is transphobic. That's her being afraid or hateful to trans people.
That is a hop, skip, and jump away from being called hate speech. Because she wants to be called a woman.
It is.
It's right there. It's right on the verge.
It's non-different in the minds of these people. Saying transphobic and hate speech, those are the same things. These people, listen.
Yeah, but what she did wasn't even transphobic. All she did was say she wants to be called a woman.
No, to them it is. To their orthodoxy, that's her being transphobic. I know what you're saying. I agree with you. I'm just telling you. That's how these folks think. Now, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, no, I don't. I'm only gonna. No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go. I mean, I've been talking a lot. So, go ahead. I mean, go ahead. Tasco prefers menstruating person.
But see, my issue is that, like, when this whole thing. When it started being brought to my attention, I guess you could say, like, the trans agenda. Prior to that, like, I was like, there's no way in the world I'm going to call anybody anything other than what they were born biologically. I felt so strongly about that. Like, I felt like I was pushing somebody in an unhealthy direction by agreeing with that. Like, to me, at that point, I felt like it would be like if you had your arm cut off and you were bleeding out your arm and you said to me, am I fine? And I said, yeah, you're fine. Because you want to be said that you're fine. So I wasn't going to do that. So I'm like, no way. If I see you bleeding out your arm, I want to save you. I want to help you. I'm going to help you. And I'm not going to say something other than what I believe to or what is reality or what is truth. So that was, you know, but then as time progressed and I, you know, learned different things and met new people and kind of had friends, I guess you could say, that were trans, kind of heard from other people, family members and stuff. And then that kind of helped changed my mind about it, and so that I didn't put my, you know, the stake in the ground so strongly. If somebody said, hey, I'd like to be called she or he, or, you know, I just kind of went with it because I felt like that it was I didn't want to lose that relationship with that person over a pronoun. It just didn't seem worth it to me, you know. But now it's like, okay, well, I did do that. Like, I had to leave my religious box, and I don't even think it was a bad place to be. I actually think it was a fine place to be, especially if you feel that strongly about it. But I left that religious box that I was in on the topic and tried to make people feel more comfortable. And then all of a sudden, like, out of nowhere, it feels like it's a left hook. It's like, wait, we let you into our spaces. Like, we've been going on with this. We've been having the conversation and talking and not ostracizing. In my opinion, that's how it seems from my side. There's been no hate coming from me anyway. But so I'm like, why is it that they're coming into our space and then not respecting the fact that we also want to be safe? You can't barge into women's space and say, yo, we need to come into your bathroom because we don't feel safe in the men's bathroom. Yeah, welcome to the club. This is how we've all been feeling since we were born. This is the lot in life for women, is we don't feel safe around men. And be it as it is.
That's because women are not safe around men.
We are not safe around men. And there's whole bunches of men, and it's already, don't say it hasn't happened. It's already been documented that people that are not even people that are trans, they're not even trans, but they're coming into the bathrooms under that guy saying, oh, well, I identify as female. So all of a sudden they're in the women's bathroom. Like, doesn't
matter.
It doesn't. And the other thing too is these people are like, you look at that, the swimmer,
Leah Thomas.
I mean, towering above the other girls. Like, there's no way in the world, even if Leah Thomas, I mean, she was all, wasn't she like in some compromised situation with these girls in the, I don't want to say what she had her junk in the bathroom.
She had her junk out in the locker room and was bragging to the other girls that he was still attracted to women.
Okay, so this, you see what I'm saying? But let's just say she didn't do that. Let's say Leah Thomas didn't do that. Let's say she went in there, she minded her own fucking business and didn't look at everybody else's business. Let's say that's what she did. I still have an issue with it because she's towering above the other girls. Like, any girl that's been in any situation where they have been in any sexual situation where they've been compromised with a male is gonna have a problem in that situation because you're towering above them. The only people that tower above us are men.
And as Anna experienced, when a man wants to get at you, sorry girls, you're in trouble. Which is why we separated these locker rooms as well as these athletic competitions by sex, not by gender. Go ahead.
And this is the thing. The laughing that happens as they're leaving, and I can't tell you how many of my friends that have been assaulted and the person was laughing after, like when they're in these horrible situations, like that to me is like so over the top, so overboard. But I feel like we're being laughed at when we're not being respected and listened to, when we're saying we don't feel safe. It's not that we are rejecting you as people or we disagree with the way that you want to identify. We didn't even say anything about the way that you identify. All we said was we want to maintain our safety. That's what we said. That's what we want. And, I'm sorry, Anna, that happened to you. Like, these situations keep happening over and over, and it's been happening to women since the beginning of time. And here comes another group of people that wants to prioritize themselves above the people that have been victims since the beginning. This is crazy.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah, and just to put this one to bed, here's a person reaching out to Anna and saying, has anybody ever called you a birthing person, blah, blah, blah. So here I'm going to put Anna's response in here because, this has been used to basically dismiss her. Who's calling you a birthing person? Well, what does it matter? See, this is the thing that's crazy to me is that you got people who are obviously male saying, refer to me as a woman. And if you don't refer to me as a woman, you're a horrible, terrible, evil person. Your kid should get expelled from school. You should lose your job, blah, 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 blah. Then here comes women saying, okay, I don't want to be called a menstruating person. You horrible, nasty transphobe.
Really?
Do you not see the inconsistency there? So now she's transphobic because she wants to be known as she wants your language to reflect something transcendental about her instead of just the essentials of her plumbing. It's phobic for saying that. I gotta shout out my boy Cenk though. I gotta shout out Cenk because Cenk is loyal as hell to Anna Kasparian no matter what she does. Some people would say he's loyal to a fault, but He's loyal as hell. Now, here we go. Hey, look, this guy's got all the flags, mashallah. Well, at least he's got the Palestinian flag up there, so at least he cares about some brown people. Here we go. Has anyone ever called you a birthing person? Anyone at all? Yes, Tyler. I live in California. So this should end the whole, oh, Anna's complaining about a non-issue. Who are you to say it's a non-issue? This is mind-boggling. If you can't see what's happening and how dangerous this attitude is relative to the election that's coming up in 2024, I don't know what to tell you. We're going to have to do a Russiagate 3.0 or whatever to deal with the fallout for what's about to happen. It's insane to me how self-destructive these people are. There is no understanding whatsoever about strategy or anything like that. Yeah. It is insane. Now here's Cenk. Now I was trying to find that screenshot. I wish I'd have found it, where a liberal, a leftist woman said, Anna, I'm a leftist too, and I feel the exact same way. I'm scared, blah, blah, blah. And under the comment comes a dude who says, you're not a leftist. Now again, Anna, I'm sorry, but this is what you guys did for years to people that strayed. The real beef here for Anna and Cenk is who gets to determine what leftist orthodoxy is. That's the real conflict they're having. And what Cenk is saying is, can we apply some common sense? And Anna's his friend, and I'm sure she confided in him how that situation fucked her up.
And, you know, I'm not a Cenk person, but I feel like he's the type of guy that wouldn't be okay with just letting something like that just slide. Like, if he was there, he'd have done something about it.
Who?
Cenk. I think he would have done something. I believe if he was
Cenk.
There,
yeah. See, here's the thing, and guys know this. If Cenk was walking with Anna, that situation would not have happened.
It would have never happened.
See, that's the thing. People will look at her a certain way when she's by herself, but when I'm with her, it's different. And again,
100%.
These people don't know me. They don't know my background. They don't know where I'm from. I'm a pretty unassuming person. I'm 5'3". I'm sitting on a stool right now to reach the camera. I'm a little guy. But the fact of the matter is when a predator sees a girl with a guy, he doesn't want the trouble. You got to understand, but again, when you're terminally online, there are certain nuances about human nature. I listen to these people talk, I'm like, they really don't get it. I had a guy go back and forth with me, this is bad on me, for an hour talking about how trans men should be able to try out for the NBA. The trans man is a woman to, a female to man.
It's never going to happen. They couldn't even compete. Come on. That's so unrealistic.
I said, bruh, they couldn't even beat me and my boys in a pickup game. What is wrong with
that's
you?
What they should do. They should say for every female that can qualify for men's sports, that's how many men will let into women's sports, or how many trans women will let into women's sports.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.
That is really, 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 really brilliant.
2023.
Okay, so look, is this a compelled speech Jordan Peterson talked about? I mean, to a degree, right? I mean, but this is more like a text for orthodoxy, and it's not working out very well for these folks. So here we go. So then Cenk gets in the middle of this. And what happens is Emma Vinglin, I'm not pronouncing her name well, but she is a leftist. She got her start on TYT. Okay. And then she went over to a regular space with Sam Sater and the Majority Report. Okay. You don't know these people, but basically Emma Vinglin is kind of like she's like the nice one, unassuming, very soft spoken. She doesn't do the I'm gonna throw my pants. She doesn't do the histrionics like Anna got into. She's just very, very... So when Anna put out the first tweet daring to call herself a woman, Emma Vinglin went on for 10 minutes, very awkwardly stuttering over her words, trying to justify Anna. And they even put Anna is not transphobic or whatever. Okay? This entire it is insane They had to shoot a video to explain that Anna doesn't hate trans people because she demanded to be called a woman. It's insane. Well, then it wasn't good enough. They didn't cut her throat so then Sam gets in there, and it's so fascinating.
They're never going to be happy until she slices her own throat.
It's so fascinating because Emma was very, like, you know, nice and coddling, dare I say feminine in approach to this issue with her friend Anna. Sam Seder goes out and says it was an anti-trans act. And nobody saw the irony. A woman demands to be called a woman, and then a man comes in on behalf of biological men to tell that woman that she committed an anti-trans act. Think!
Woo! This is out of control.
Who does Anna Kasparian represent? College-educated liberal white women. Who does Riley Gaines represent? College-educated liberal white women. And the left has completely, the online, I'll call it the TOL, the terminally online leftists, who don't know anything. I don't know if you remember this, during the George Floyd uprising, blah, 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 people were destroying property. I talked to one of these Antifa people, and I said, man, I'm watching videos of these white Antifa people destroying property, and black people saying, stop doing this. I'm like, you're not doing any of that dumb shit, are you? He goes, you know, things have to be done, blah, blah, blah. Marx talked about violence and blah, 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 blah. I said, yeah, but the problem is that Tucker Carlson and the rest of those guys are going to jump on that and say that we're doing it. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to use that to delegitimize what we've done. We've been through this before in the 60s. But this guy, he doesn't know anything about activism because he was in his basement playing World of Warcraft. And because he had extended adolescence, he didn't have a child until very, very recently. He needs something to do. He needs something to believe in. So this guy began to explain to me, a black person, why their direct action of destroying property, thereby getting our movement completely delegitimized, why we needed that to happen. I'm like, you fucking arrogant motherfucker. Do you understand? I am black. We are black. It is our movement. But here comes this white guy telling us what we need. So what happens? Anna Kasparian has a clear problem with being called a menstruating person, blah, 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 blah. Sam Seder knows what she went through. And what does he do? He gets on to mansplain about how Anna, and there is no sense of irony whatsoever. Dear listener, you got a bunch of white women going, what the fuck? Because here's the thing, guys, I don't care what anybody says. These are the way that things are supposed to go. When your people get attacked, especially when your women get attacked, a man is supposed to step up and protect. So Sam, when you get on there and you say, well, she committed a transphobic act, you're communicating to everybody that she's an icon of, we will not protect you.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is, I'm sorry, but if you ask me, your daughter's getting attacked, and there's Tucker Carlson or Sam Seder, who's more likely to intervene on behalf of your daughter? I'm going to say Tucker Carlson 10 times out of 10. These dudes are not taking into account the fact that women at the visceral level need protection from men.
Facts.
Go look at the RAINN statistics. I think 92% of all sexually assaulted people are women, and 98% of the perpetrators are biological males, dear listener. You got dude over there in Wales who's on trial for sexual assault, identifying as a woman, and then going into the woman's fucking... How far do you want to take this? Or should I play the Fallon Fox video where she fucking broke the orbital bone in this woman? The woman looked like she got shot in the... I've seen people shot in the face. She looked like she got shot in the face. And then you see Fallon Fox, I'm coming. Okay? Women need protection. And what's happening is you dudes are communicating that you cannot protect them. And you won't even protect them at the legislative level. And then you got Republicans saying, I don't like you at all, But if I was there, that shit would have never happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a single leftist say that to her. I've seen dudes say, I feel bad for you, blah, 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 blah.
So the people, oh yeah, they said they didn't like her, but they would protect her.
But then you had right-wingers and their instinct was to protect.
Yeah.
And I've told, we had this conversation last night, whatever. You're never going to be able to outrun biology, ever. Women are always going to need protection from men. And I don't care what anybody says, psychologically speaking, they want to know that they will be protected by the men.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, Sam Sater is not a tough guy. He's skinny. We all know that. But you don't need to be a tough guy. You just need to put yourself in the middle of the altercation and let that woman get some time to get the freedom. You don't need to be a tough guy. You don't need to beat people up. You just, I've told her, because, we take walks in the dark and shit. I said, if anybody ever comes out, just fucking get yourself as far away from those dudes as possible and then call police. Don't try to help me. That's what men do. This shit has gone to, this is crazy. This is crazy. So now, think about the month that white women have had. They saw over there in, what do you call it? In, what's that place close to us? New Zealand. Here's this white lady that says, let women speak. And the biological males dumped a bunch of tomato juice on her, put their hands around her throats and got her out of there. Then you got Riley Gaines, who was essentially held hostage. They held the girl hostage. And the school comes out and says, great job. What are white women hearing? These dudes can attack you. We will not protect you. Mm-hmm. You don't even get to call yourself a woman.
Unbelievable.
Because we're going to trivialize you.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like, how dare you? How dare you tell us that we can't call ourselves women when we've been calling you anything and everything that you ask to be called? And I said, we don't agree with it. We didn't agree with it. And it's not coming from a place of hate. It's just coming from a place of saying, look, this is the way that we see reality, and that's and that we're speaking about reality here. This is the way that we're seeing that truth is. And like, why couldn't it have been brought right down the middle? If we're like, okay, you want to be called that, we're going to call you that. We're saying we want to be called women like we've always been called. But now all of a sudden that's unacceptable, and you're going to go, it's just crazy, man.
Sam Sater has kids fit, and you don't think he would intervene? No, I don't. I don't believe that Sam Sater would intervene. No way. No.
I think there are very few. Wait, when what? When someone's getting assaulted?
If Sailor or Zoe was getting assaulted, and you had Tucker versus Sam, I'm going with Tucker.
Oh yeah, I'd go with Tucker as well.
Because Tucker's probably packing. As I'm saying, you don't have to be a tough guy. There's a lot of shit that you can do. No, I don't believe that Sam Sater would defend my daughter. What did he say in defense of Anna? He knows what happened to her. What did he say? Not a fucking word. So no, I don't believe Sam Sater would defend her. No, I don't. Now, and shout out to Rig. Rig is my dude. Rig is my dude. I love Rig. Here we go. Here's Emma. So Emma's having a back and forth with Cenk. She says, I was trying to express my love and appreciation for the company that gave me my start and for my good friend Anna within the context of a disagreement. This reaction is pretty shocking to me, Cenk. Have a good one. Ooh, that's bad. Because Emma Vinglin is, again, very soft-spoken. She is not prone to any of the dramatics or any of that shit. And she naively went into this conversation, because again, she's in her 20s. She naively went into this conversation thinking that she was going to reason Cenk out of this situation. The difference is, Cenk started out as a right-winger. He was a gun-toting, crazy right-winger.
That's
so
right.
So he still has those instincts.
Yeah.
It's obvious to me that he loves Anna.
Yeah.
Now, people can, I think it's a platonic love. I think at least at this point, I think it's a platonic love, whatever. But I think he feels a genuine big brother protective emotion that's very traditional for her. You saw this in the Jimmy Dore situation.
I agree.
He took all the bullets for her when she started that altercation, and he basically had to he just went in line with it. And I think Cenk feels horrible that he was not there to defend her.
I'm sure.
Because that's how I would feel.
Yeah.
You know, I've been estranged from my dad for almost 20 years. My sister got caught up in some beef, and he called me up. He says, listen, Vincent, you have to talk to your sister because he not going to listen to me. And some girl had said something reckless to her in the Bronx, and my sister took up a desk and threw it at the girl. And, you know, they had to handcuff her and all types of crazy shit. But she would only talk to me. Mm-hmm. And me and my sister didn't even grow up together, but we're kind of the same. Yeah. And so I remember telling, like, if I grew up with my sister, I'd have never made it out of the Bronx. I'd have never, between the way that she is but that's what's happening. So Cenk goes in and defends Anna. And so Emma Vinglin, I can't believe you're doing this, Cenk. You know, have a good one. So now the majority report in TYT had been like this. I mean, that's a real alliance. Cenk has supported Sam Sater. He supported Emma. You know, Emma was there with Emma fills in a lot. She goes back and forth between. Yeah. That apparently is done now. Wow. That apparently is done. Vin has short man syndrome. 100% he would get into a fight at Subway. I've been in fights in subways in New York, but not in Subway.
Thank God.
Waldo says he's not 5'3". Yeah, I'm 5'3".
Vin has no little man syndrome, I can assure you.
Oh, here we go. Don't do that, because then somebody's gonna get reckless. They're gonna get themselves banned. Okay, so look, guys. There it is. You can look at this as, this is more trans stuff. Somebody was like, why are you talking about this trans stuff? No, it's not about the trans stuff. It's not about the crime stuff. It's about the lack of understanding of your average leftist. Mm-hmm. Your average leftist, I'm talking about real left, I'm talking about progressive, in their 20s. I'm sorry. If you're in your 20s and you're a progressive, you have no hope. You guys need to have some kids and fucking go outside and get offline. Because nobody thinks like you. Yeah.
I was thinking about how everything, it's always pushing to the right or pushing to the left. And we talk about this all the time. That's why you came up with your channel name, Middle America. It's like trying to find that middle spot. And I think that we always have to be conscious of, are we pushed all the way to one side? And I think that the way that you go about it, like you always listen to the opposing side. Like whoever is the best speaker for the opposing side, let them speak. So we can hear from them and we can make adjustments where adjustments need to be made. But when we silence every other voice except for the people that speak the same language and have the same mindsets as us, then we're never going to grow. And we can get so far in one direction and not even realize how far we are off. That it's an imperative that we listen to each other and that we give each other a chance to speak and not silence. But I mean, if people, and it's not even about silencing. I mean, you are silencing, but I think that people are unintentional. I think people do it intentionally. But there's also an unintentional silencing that happens, like you said, with the algorithms and with the people that you get in circles with. You don't even necessarily know that you're silencing other voices. You just think, oh, well, there's some people that have some opposing views, but you guys have your shit all figured out. What a mess.
Yeah, restate your question, Michelle. And while Michelle is loading up
yes, Michelle, Vinny would protect you if he was there and something happened to you, for sure.
Oh, she asked that?
I think she had asked that like a while. Oh, you were in the middle of talking about something.
Oh, yeah, we got you. Any dude in here will protect you. We met over here. We met over here, Michelle. We don't let people do that to our folks. And honestly, true story, like if you sit by and let that shit happen to a woman, you're not a man. You're not... Listen, G.K. Chesterton said... If you happen upon a guardrail, you better make damn sure you know why that's there before you decide to deconstruct it. Yeah. All this shit, we're gonna deconstruct and redefine what a man and a woman is. Shut the fuck up. There are really bad people in the world, dear listener. Really, really bad. And a lot of bad shit can happen in a very short period of time. And whether you want to look at it from a biblical worldview or an evolutionary worldview, we evolved to understand that biological men are always 100% of the time a threat to biological women. And we figured out, societally speaking, in all various different ways, whether you look at Islamic culture, I'm talking about Indian culture, like the continent of India, the subcontinent of India. Every culture understands this and has mechanisms in place to account for this shit. Now you got all these weird people that spend all their time in a basement or in some dorm from some freak professor who doesn't know the fucking anything about the world because he's been in academia for 40 years. And these two people combine to create this idealistic society that does not exist and doesn't account for basic shit like human instinct or animalistic tendencies of males to reproduce and spread the gene, blah, 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 blah. So I criticize secularism, but even from a secular standpoint, you can understand that there are various differences that are never going to be bridged. You know, we talked about this. People say, oh, the male is protector is a societal construct. No shit. But they never ask the next question. Why is it a societal construct?
Right. Who's the predators of the society?
Why did society just decide that men were protectors? Why do you think that is? Could there be a biological reason? Is that possible? Like these people, they never think. They never say, oh, gender is a sociological construct. Okay, fine. If gender is a sociological construct, why did we construct it? Mm-hmm. So you want to throw God out. Oh, let's just throw God. Yeah. Let's throw our creator out of there. All this shit happened randomly. Yeah. Okay, all right. We'll just go along with that. Okay, fine. We evolved. Why is every major culture... why did we evolve that every major culture has men as protectors? How come? What were the genetic and epigenetic factors that went into society decide, or did we just randomly at a whim decide this? Maybe there are biological and evolutionary and philosophical and theological reasons why the human family came together and assigned these roles in society. Is that possible? Guys, here's the last thing I'll say, and poor Cenk. Here's Benny. Demanded that elected officials like AOC use the term woman instead of medically relevant, accurate categories that includes trans men is transphobic.
What in the world? Because
they want to say that trans men that trans men can be pregnant. Trans man is a woman that it was a biological woman. Whatever. Okay, so now what's happening is you've got people who are 1% of the population dictating the lexicon for 340 million people. Think about that. Simultaneous to this, these are the same people that are claiming they're being genocided.
There's literally no other group in humanity that has demanded this of the masses. This is the only time a tiny group of people has done this, right?
I'll disagree. This is the only time that the society at large has said, "Okay, we'll go along with this." Okay.
Okay. Like when else did it happen?
If you read Juvenal, for example, Juvenal was a satirist in Rome. Yeah. And he made fun of lesbians marrying each other. He's basically saying these people, it's two dudes and two girls. Like, they can't get married. And he made a mockery of it. So you had people that were saying, hey, I'm out, I'm gay, blah, blah, blah. We want a gay marriage.
That's not the same thing. That's saying let us do what we want. They're telling us what we need to do.
Oh, yeah,
This is crazy. You can't tell women we can't call ourselves women.
I know, it's insane.
What do you mean?
It's insane. And Brent has a good point. In the movie Junior, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character got pregnant. That's true. And people talked about Mrs. Doubtfire and things like that. America as a whole had no problem with the gender bending stuff. We had no problem with cross-dressers. They were celebrated. But the current leftist doesn't think at all. Why is there so much animosity now?
Yeah, what happened?
Why was Junior this big hit thing? You had Arnold Schwarzenegger was like the pinnacle of masculinity.
Pregnant?
Literally the pinnacle of masculinity. I remember watching that. I was grossed out by that. I never watched the whole movie. I'm not going to lie to you. It was disgusting to me.
What was the name
of it? Junior. Okay. It was absolutely disgusting to me. Once I saw him, there was also an episode of the Cosby Show where the dudes got pregnant. I couldn't. It was so. Oh God. I couldn't watch it. They're like, "What are you doing? You're skipping on movie now?" I'm like, "Hell yeah! I'm going downstairs to fucking play Super Mario Brothers."
Why the idea of stretching a man?
It was just a dude carrying a baby. It was just disgusting to me. I couldn't do it. Everybody else, I was downstairs playing my Mario 2 in my little dungeon or whatever. with
Yeah.
fighting Koopa and shit. I heard all this. I'm like, you guys are sick as hell up there. Fuck all of you.
Dirty.
Okay. Here we go. No, it's not. It's if left-wing politicians use language that is greatly alienating to the majority of voters, then Republicans win elections. Correct. And then they pass laws against trans people. Correct. You're hurting your own cause. Correct. We want to protect trans rights. Correct. We want to fight against bigoted laws. Correct. Instead, you all are fighting on losing ground for no reason.
Yeah.
You keep saying that no one uses these terms and then turn around and say politicians should use them. Which one is it? That's such a good point, Cenk. It's very rational. It's very rational. The problem is you have ceded too much ground to these people already. Same thing with you, Anna. The same African lady that was accusing you of saying transphobic shit 9 months ago, Anna. I'm not gonna play the video because we don't have the time. 9 months ago, Anna, you said that same woman who's going after you for being transphobic, you were celebrating her for going after Kim Iverson about pronouns, and you said, awesome person takes down transphobe. So this is you being eaten by the monster that you created and bred and fed.
That's it. Yep.
And now because you both of these folks presume themselves to be thought leaders. They didn't realize that this thing has metastasized beyond their control. So now they want to draw the line here. Like, hey, I'm a woman. That's the line. Who told you that you could draw the line, Anna? Because all the other women, when they were saying, hey, I don't want my daughter competing against this fucking 6'4" dude to fucking...
That's a good point.
Hey, I don't want my daughter having to compete against fucking Leah Thomas, and on top of that, her exposed junk out there for all to see, while he's bragging, talking about he's still attracted to girls, while his junk is out there, and my daughter now has to... And if my daughter says something, she's crazy... Now so you guys invalidated those people. You called them transphobic. You said all this shit. Now the shoe's on the other foot. Anna has now been assaulted. She understands now in clear relief there is a big difference between men and women. And she understands that if that motherfucker caught her in a bathroom, she'd be in a lot of fucking trouble. Because if he did that shit to her in broad daylight, what do you think would happen to her in a bathroom?
Yep.
And she knows that. Now she's got the cognitive dissonance, so she doesn't want to come out and say that. It's fascinating to me that in all the analysis from leftists, not a single one of them picked up on the sexual assault. They haven't connected. And this is why I say, guys, all of this is connected. It's connected to guns.
Yep.
As you saw. It's connected to marriage. It's connected to so many others. But all I can tell you is that white women, and again, one of these people was a leftist, okay? This person said, I'm a hardcore, I wish I'd have kept the screenshot. I'm a hardcore leftist. She said, but this shit right here, I don't know what's going on. And of course, a dude responds, says, you're not a leftist. Okay, let's see what happens then. Let's see what happens when Trump says, I'm gonna make sure we clean up the streets. I'm gonna make sure that this plague of these guys in the locker, we can't let that happen. Okay, so you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna type, oh, fuck Trump and his homophobia on Twitter, and then they're gonna go vote for him. Mm-hmm. Just like they did in 2016.
Yep.
But you're 20, so you don't know, because you weren't even a voting age when that happened. That's what's gonna happen. And then all the rights. First of all, young millennial trans people, I gotta tell you, young millennial LGBT people, you guys didn't accomplish shit for the movement. There has been no major progress that is pro-LGBTQ that didn't happen from the fucking Gen X and previous boomer generation. You guys are standing on the shoulders of giants. I'm gonna actually have one of them on the show to explain to you what shit was like before the fucking year 2000. Because you guys, listen, the only benefit that I can see to me not having secondary and tertiary education is the fact that I know that the things that I don't know outweigh the things that I do know by almost an infinite level. This is what happens when you're underprivileged. But you guys don't get it. You guys don't know what you don't know. What significant thing has this current group of LGBT activists actually accomplished? other than turning people who were once something them against them, making people go, man, did I support this like too much? That's what this current crop of LGBT activists have created.
Right, that's the impact they're
The previous crop of LGBT activists made people go, well, what is our problem with these people really? Like, they forced you to ask yourself that question. Like what? I mean, they're not hurting anybody. Like, nothing's happening. This current crop of LGBT people are just entitled, like I said, mostly white people who've been socialized on the internet, don't understand how the real world works. They don't get it. So a guy like Joe Rogan says, hey, I think that Bernie guy's okay. And silly people like AOC, we can't accept that because 5 years ago he said something transphobic. I think it was actually because of what he said about Fallon Fox, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Joe Rogan had the audacity to say that Fallon Fox should not be fighting women, and Dana White suspended him from UFC.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Okay. All right, guys. We got to get out of here. We have another
birthday party.
Yes. We have a birthday party coming up. So we're gonna take about 5-10 minutes off, and then we're gonna be back on the other situation. Young trans activists got Pentagon doctors to say 7-year-olds can make the decision to have sex change surgery. Correct. All at the same time, by the way, saying TYT saying nobody's doing that. So yeah, I was watching a Jessie Gender video because I'm prepping for the major one, the major interview we're going to be doing, and she's like, "There's nobody doing anything." I'm like, "What are you talking to Chloe Cole? She's like a person." Like, yeah. What are you talking about? Like, of course there have been kids that have done irreversible. There's an entire Reddit thread about it. What are you talking about? Pictures, whole line, fucking horrible, horrific shit. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Is that where that one picture came from? From those kids?
Final question. Do you actually believe the trans stuff will motivate to vote Trump or DeSantis? Absolutely. Not the trans stuff, but the way that white women are being treated in the culture. Listen, this is the first cultural moment that white women are being looked upon as the bad guy. This is the first cultural moment where a white woman has said, hey, I have a problem, and now they're the bad guy. Like, there's going to be absolute hell to pay. And they have the right. They have the right to feel the way that they're feeling because they have been abandoned by left-wing men. I'm sorry, you have been. Because you just have. Because the fact of the matter is, the vast majority of women are not cool with a lot of the shit that's happening. I mean, I'm seeing on the thread, don't call me sis. I don't like, there's a whole left-wing women, right-wing women, they don't want to be called sis. Like, does it bother you? The sis term bothers you?
You know, it didn't at first. I was just like, meh, okay. But it just seems like every day that there's more information coming out, stuff is getting pushed forward. When I saw all of those biological males transition to females attacking that woman and making it so she could not speak at this, what was the name of the rally?
Which one?
Where they dumped the stuff on her, they were attacking her.
Let women speak.
It was okay. I wanted to get the words exactly right because it's so crazy.
It was a let women speak rally.
Let women speak, and you won't let any biological women speak. I'm sorry. Like, that's the thing. Like, if it was just like, oh, okay, I didn't have an issue with that stuff to begin with, but the more that I'm seeing, the more I just feel like it's this sick encroachment on us, on women. And I don't know what the goal is, because if they were like, oh, you know, like we just were trying to live our best lives or whatever, and they weren't trying to encroach on our space, and they weren't you know, doxing people that don't agree with them and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, they're a violent group of people. And when that woman went up there to speak and they were all trying to attack her, knocking stuff over, like aggressively going at her, all she was trying to do was talk.
Trans women are women.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I'll say it's been said before, but that is how men react when things don't go the way that they go. That is how, you know, a specific group of men react.
Listen, man. Listen. When you're you know that if you're black, they always got that shit in the back pocket. as soon as you step out of line, that that shit comes
It happens all the time. I see it when we watch stuff. Like, everybody be cool, then the minute something, boom, that's right where they go.
That car, it's the same thing with these women. Now they're starting to feel it. Like, when dudes get mad, they still have that shit in their back pocket because they know they're stronger than you. Even if they're you can pump them full of estrogen. It doesn't shrink their size. It doesn't shrink their body weight. It doesn't demineralize their bones. Over time, it will with puberty blockers, with osteoporosis and all the other shit. But they're still biologically constructed as men, and they're still socialized as men, and you're still a woman, and that woman was prey. And they went back to their they went back to their instinctual sort of native behavior, because as men, we have a capacities for violence that women do not. Those are just facts. Look, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you guys, but that's where we're at. I'm looking at this the Swedish cohort study by yada 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 yada, and here it says. Here's an important phrase. Male to females retained a male pattern regarding criminality. The same was true regarding violent crime. Okay, so this is a Swedish study. Okay, these folks are saying that the patterns of criminality that you find by biology and gender, whatever you want to talk about, okay, you have to take this into account. If you do not take that into account, then you're gonna end up supporting really dangerous shit that you don't really believe in. And I know the vast majority of my left-wing folks do not believe that women should be put in situations where they could be victimized. Yeah. Okay? But I'm sorry, you guys have to look this shit in the face, okay? The transness doesn't change the patterns of criminality, particularly as regards to violent crime. That's what the stats are telling experts say. So, dudes, figure it out. All right.
So to answer the question, no, I don't like being called cis, especially because what we see as the agenda that they're pushing forward right now.
There's no agenda.
Yeah, there's no agenda.
That's what Jesse Gender told me. There's no agenda. Yeah. Go ahead.
But when you see that and you see how aggressively, like, I mean, to the degree that, like you said, like, you have biological males that are transitioned to females that her entire eye socket was sunken in. It looked like she'd been shot in the head. You said it was so horrible.
Yeah.
Like, when stuff like that is happening, like, no, I don't think that you have a good agenda toward cis women. And so, no, I'm not going to call myself a cis woman. I'm a woman. And if you want to say other things and call yourself other things, that's fine. I'm not here to stop that, but I'm not going to label myself something else. I'm not doing, because you know what it is? I don't trust where they're even going with it. I don't even know where they're going with that, but it can't be good because what's already happened hasn't been good. And, you know, when the whole masking thing happened and everybody was, you know, there was that whole fight about, should we give the government this, should we not, should we whatever? And it was about, like, if we give them too much, are they going to give it back to us? No, they probably won't. And I think it's the same thing with this. If we say cis women instead of just calling ourselves women, like, you're doing something else. And I don't know. I can't see what's behind the curtain. Maybe you can, but I am not going to do that. I don't know what the rest of women are going to do. I think that you're asking, it's crazy that people have to second guess whether or not they can take the social blow of not calling themselves what they were born as. Like, this could, you know, potentially cost people their jobs. I don't know.
Yes, kids have been expelled from school, all types of shit. It's insane. And so now Anna's saying, we're going to play this last video because the birthday boy's in the house. We're going to play this last video, and then we got to go to the other channel. And so thank you guys for sticking with us. Here's Cenk. There's the
one that I read. So I'll just say this. Okay. I love you.
It's very low.
And it's okay. And if you disagree, it's okay. If you want to leave, that's okay. Okay. Thank you for being a member all this time. I appreciate it. But what in my opinion, what your misunderstanding is, and what you have maybe you didn't see is, so all this kerfuffle starts with a simple tweet, and then
it just started.
At least half a dozen videos from other progressives or leftists online, all attacking us and calling us all sorts of names. So maybe you don't see that, so you think like, well, what is Cenk so upset about, right? So they call us all these names and they feel super proud about it, like, we are more pure. So then I fight back on Twitter, and then all of a sudden they're like, how could you insult us? We were just, all we were doing was punching you in the face. No, that's a right-wing position. You punch.
Okay, so he's talking about Emma right now. And Emma is the most, between Crystal, Anna, Brianna, Emma is the most soft-spoken of all the female progressives. So there's no way that Cenk and Anna are going to be able to address this and not look like bullies because of who Emma is. Okay, we continue.
Then you got to expect that I'm going to counter, right? I don't mean you kid tested. I mean, for folks who are out there, here, I'll name a name. Lance from the Serfs. He's on here all the time on the power panel, right? And
he named a guy when he was going back and forth mostly with Emma. But again, you cannot call out Emma of England. She's too sweet. I'm sorry. We continue. Just kidding. We continue now.
Comes out and does this like video about how he's so correct and oh yeah, the Young Turks. Correct.
Like you guys do all the time. We continue.
No, Lance, you're not goddamn correct. Nobody elected you. The polling shows no one agrees with you. Your 12 buddies online. I don't care, okay? And say, oh yeah, I'm 100%. He's 99.95%.
Pretty sure even the trans contributors on TYT agree with that surf guy. But they're not going to say anything because you're the boss. But the fact that they're not saying anything in defense of Anna is enough.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to correct him. No. So don't, look, you want to say, hey, I don't agree with you? God bless. You want to say, Cenk, you shouldn't say anything back because you're being rude? Come on, brother or sister, I don't know what your
I just got to be honest. I just don't really care to like collaborate with any other leftist ever again at this point.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at, because they come on the show, they build a name for themselves, and then they build a bigger name for themselves, trashing us as if they don't know who we are, as if they haven't worked with us, they don't know what our actual political values are. So I don't
see. She's hurt.
She's hurt.
She's hurt.
She's hurt.
She's hurt. But she can't say, you guys hurt me. She can't do that.
Why?
Because she's not going to get any sympathy. She got sexually assaulted in public,
right,
and they turned it around that she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
So she can't say, you guys hurt me. But she's hurt. She's deeply wounded. But what she doesn't realize is this is what you've been doing to women for the last 5 years, Anna. The way you feel right now, that's how you've treated other women who've expressed concerns about this topic. So I'm sorry that you feel this way. I'm sorry that you're hurt, but here we go.
Jake, I never want to talk about them again. I never want to address them again. It's a waste of time. There's important stuff going on in the country. Our personal drama with a bunch of leftists on Twitter doesn't matter.
All right, last thing I'm going to say on it, because you brought it up, is that I'm not the kind of guy to back down.
Yeah, you're not going to back down. Good for you. He's not going to back down in defense of Anna. I respect it. I respect loyalty. I would do the same thing if it was my people. I'm riding or die with my people. I respect Cenk for that. But holy shit, you guys are in trouble. And you know the scripture says that evil men will go from bad to worst, but they will not get very far, and their folly will be plain to all. That's what the scripture says. I know a lot of you guys are not Bible people, but when the Bible's right, the Bible's right. This is a stupid movement. This is stupid. As the scripture says, folly is being plain to all. It's stupid. And this is why the left is fracturing over this topic. It's fucking 1% of the population. Holy shit. All right, guys. We got to go.
One more thing.
We got to go.
Brent, I will say, because Brent said the way she treated Jimmy Dore, I don't feel sorry for Anna. And I understand where you're coming from. I wasn't happy with the way that she treated Jimmy either. I wasn't happy with some of the ways that Jimmy handled the situations either. That kind of popped off. But I think one thing that I've learned over the last year is that it's really important to understand that there's no side that is like, it's very rare to find a side that is completely right. And so when you have a situation like this, it's like, okay, well, this is wrong. She got assaulted. And so you can be on her side on that without being on her side on the things that she's wrong on. And instead of saying, oh, well, she treated Jimmy bad, so I'm going to disregard what she has to say. Like, if everybody continues with that mindset, we're just going to keep slamming from side to side and never getting to the middle. And the idea is that we get to the middle and we have better understanding for each other, and that we can all love each other and live on this planet together. I mean, obviously the goal is world peace.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The Me Too shit, though, he said he didn't feel bad for her. He didn't say he disregarded what she had to say. The Me Too shit, I will say as a man, was...
The way she treated Jimmy Dore, I don't feel sorry for Anna.
Yeah, he didn't say he was disregarding what she was saying. He just said he didn't have pity for her.
But still, you should feel bad for somebody getting assaulted.
Yeah, but women still need to be held accountable for that false shit, that false reporting.
I agree.
She could have destroyed that dude.
Yep.
She could have destroyed Jimmy.
But you can't say, well, I'm not going to, like... It still
he's
has
saying
to stay
he's
balanced.
he's saying he doesn't feel any empathy for her because, one, she's been doing this to women for the, now it happened to her. It's something. But two, like, I understand that sentiment. And I you would feel different if it was somebody tried to Me Too Orion and destroy him.
Of course.
You wouldn't feel bad for her. So you got to think Jimmy is somebody's Orion. So that's got to be taken into account. Anna's not a complete victim here.
No, I didn't say she was a complete victim. And I think that we should, and I said that at the beginning. I said, I didn't think the ways that all that Jimmy Dore stuff went right. I didn't think that she handled that right.
All he's saying is he doesn't feel sorry for her.
Yeah, I guess if you're saying, I don't feel... You should, though. You should feel sorry for somebody that gets assaulted. Why would you not feel sorry? That's what I'm saying. You have to be
He's not talking about the assault. He's talking about the fact that none of her friends are supporting her. When I said she's hurt and all the leftists are turning on her, she's hurt. He's saying, I can't feel bad for that. And Brent's like one of the most...
I misunderstood.
Brent's a soft-spoken dude, man. Brent's not one of these, he's really, really soft-spoken guy. And I see where he's coming from. And I take the Me Too shit seriously because Emmett Till got killed on some fake Me Too shit. So, I'm a black man in America, so I can't let that. That's why, we threw our hat in the ring because of it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When that whole shit went down. But I get what people are saying. We got to get out of here. We got another appointment. Much love to all you people. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Middle America, we are the media. Till next